Welcome back in. Fitz the Bill rolling right along on this Tuesday, July 29th morning. I'm Jack Fitzpatrick, Allen alongside. And Ricky Stenhouse, now driver of the number 47 Chevrolet, in studio with us here as gets ready for Iowa this weekend and down the road a little bit, right? You got Richmond.
Iowa this weekend. Yes, I had to think about what you just said there for a minute. I was like, wait, we're not coming to Richmond this weekend.
We still got a couple
Iowa
weeks.
this weekend, Richmond August 16th. So, no, we're, it's good to be in Richmond. And like you said, Iowa's coming up. Similar tracks as far as kind of shapes and sizes go. So, we had a great run at Iowa last year and had a strong showing for the most part at Richmond last year till I made a mistake there. So, but yeah, no, I'm looking forward to this weekend. But like I said, Richmond's coming up, and we got a couple chances to make the playoffs, and Richmond is one of them.
Yeah, you've got these last 4 races of the regular season, things kind of gearing up for you. What's the approach, the mental approach going into this kind of home stretch of the regular season?
Yeah, Iowa's a racetrack where, last year we ran 5th. We struggled qualifying, but once we got track position, we were really good. And, I feel like all these races really, no matter what racetrack we're at, if you're somewhere in the top 15 in speed and then, you get a restart kind of late in the race and you can get some track position, I feel like anybody can win these races, eventually. The fastest cars still have the best opportunity. But I look at all the races we got coming up with Iowa, Richmond, Watkins Glen, Daytona. Obviously, I think Daytona's, essentially our best place to go out and win, proven that we can win there and we've done it before. But like I said, all these racetracks, man, if you're close in speed, you have a little strategy go your way, cautions fall at the right time, can really open the door for that.
I want to know with Richmond last year, they introduced that option tire, and it seemed to really switch some things up.
I forgot about that.
Look, I was watching in the stands, and I was like, is that Suarez just running his way through the field?
Flying.
I think Dylan, too, at one point.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I guess this is the fix we have for Richmond after a couple of years of passing was a struggle at times. From your perspective, with that option tire and stuff, are you thinking about that at all, or is that all the crew chief just telling you, we're putting these tires on, go out and run hard, or how is it in the driver's seat?
Yeah, it's more up to the teams. and we can suggest, we wanted to save, the best tires for later in the run or later in the race. And because we felt like the best time to use them was at the end when you were trying to get a good finish. But, looking back, some of those guys that were able to use them and get good stage points, those points are the same as what they pay out at the end. So, probably could have done things a little bit different there. But, I forgot about that option tire. Richmond is a racetrack where a lot of us drivers love to go. You can run the bottom of the racetrack. It wears the tires out. You can run the top of the racetrack. And, obviously, if your car's working like you need it to, the bottom is the place to be. But you can search around a lot. And, we've had some really good runs at Richmond in the past and never won there. So it'd be nice to get a win.
What have you found to be, you said the bottom line, is that the best part of the track when you're hitting that and your car is able to stick to the bottom line? That's where you can get the best speed?
Yeah, and the best feeling. If you bury it down into the corner in turn 1, and especially like in qualifying, if you get your left front down to the yellow line and all of a sudden it like starts turning, you're like super pumped. You go back to the gas and then you're exiting turn 2, and as long as you don't get loose, the way the track kind of, you have good banking, and all of a sudden it kind of falls away at the wall. And so if you can get through that end, you're really, really happy. And then, you're like, all right, just don't miss my marks down here in 3 and 4. But kind of the same thing down in 3 and 4. The track's really flat on entry, and then all of a sudden the banking picks up. And if you can get that left front to that yellow line, and all of a sudden it feels like your car just kind of takes a set. Like kind of like if you're on a back country road and a sharp corner comes up that has some banking in it, and your car kind of feels really good going through there. That's what it feels like when your car is working good. So if it's not doing that, then all of a sudden you start searching around, and you're running the top lane and kind of looking for, when we're moving around, we're looking for the cleanest part of the racetrack. So if you're a fan in the stands and you're watching, the racetrack's really dark from the rubber that's coming off of our tires, we're looking for the lightest asphalt you can get. And so, and that changes lap to lap. And so the lighter the asphalt, the less rubber and the more grip it has.
So when you're on the track, are you looking for the cleanest part of the track or clean air? Because you always hear people talk about
both.
Wanting clean.
Both.
That's the dream.
Yeah, both. That's the dream, and that's what it's like leading the race. And so yeah, definitely both. It's not as critical at short tracks, with the clean air, but I mean it is important. And so you'll see a lot of guys. Like I said, your car's running good on the bottom. Guy in front of you is running the bottom. You might have to move your line a little bit around to get some clean air, like you said, instead of being right behind them. So yeah, we're looking for both.
Ricky Stenhouse Jr. joining us, the driver of the number 47 Chevrolet on this Tuesday morning. Ricky, year one, kind of, with your new team, kind of switched some things around in the offseason. What's it been like this year with Hayek? I tried to get that right. Hayek Motorsports, right?
You got it. Yeah, you're spot on. So, it's funny when people ask me because it doesn't feel like a new team to me. Obviously the name change and our kind of front office has changed, but the parts and pieces, the crew guys, our GM and Gordon Smith, the majority owner now. He's always been a part of the team since I've been there, and so. It doesn't really feel like a whole lot has changed for me other than, just new partners. And we got some great partners at Hayek that we've, been building over the 2025 season. And so it's cool to see that. We got NOS Energy Drink back on the car at Iowa this weekend. We had Rate on it at Indy, and then Fun Pops has done a lot. We've had Martin's and, just so many good sponsors that have really jumped on, Sunny D, Hungry Jack. So, we're just kind of adding to our, category of sponsors, and they've been a huge blessing to our team, getting us up and down the road. And so, the front office has changed, but, my crew guys are still the same. And so, still looking for that first Hayek win though. So we got a win at Talladega at the end of last season, which was, really strong momentum for us headed into the off season. Felt like, really kind of pushed us through the offseason. We started out this season strong. And then, really since Nashville, it's kind of been up and down. We've, had some good runs. I feel like we've executed well. Things just haven't fallen our way. Chicago, we're in the top 10, get crashed with 10 laps to go. Sonoma, we got good stage points, in the top 10 with 10 laps to go, 8 laps to go, and get crashed there too. So, things aren't working out, but I felt like we're putting ourselves in the right position. So, going to Iowa this weekend, coming back here to Richmond, we'll look to do the same.
Yeah, that recent stretch in the schedule seemed to be quite different than what it used to be, with Mexico City, going to Chicago, Sonoma, all kind of sprinkled in there. What's it like for you as a driver doing, road and street courses in a schedule that used to not have that many road and street courses?
Yeah, when I first started, it was 2.
Yeah.
And, I thought 2 was enough. But, I actually really enjoyed Chicago, the street course. So, obviously, looking forward to going to San Diego as well, seeing how all that plays out. But, I felt like the Chicago street course with, just standard roads made it tricky. It was rough. There was different areas that you could kind of change your setup to be good under braking or, cornering I really enjoyed it. So, hopefully San Diego lives up to, at least how, the racing was at Chicago. I thought there was, great passing opportunities, when your car was good, or if, you were brave enough to run it into the corner. And, so that was another thing is, you got walls on both sides. And so, but the schedule is wild. I literally have to, look at the schedule to figure out where I'm going. We used to have the same schedule for years and years and years, and you could kind of recite it and repeat it, and you knew exactly where you were going. Now I definitely have to look up where I'm going.
Yeah, these final 4 weeks, Iowa, Watkins Glen, Richmond, Daytona, I think it finishes out. And those are different. Iowa, Richmond, similar tracks. Watkins Glen, that's its own.
Totally different.
Its own thing. Daytona is a crapshoot each and every time you go there. No idea what's going to happen.
Yep.
Finishing out the regular season with 4 tracks that are like that. Do you like it? Do you not? How do you approach that?
Yeah, I mean, you even go back even further than that. You got Indy, which is, its own animal. Dover, which is nothing like any of those racetracks. And then, we had our road courses back to back with Sonoma and Chicago, the street course. So, I think NASCAR's done a really good job of mixing the schedule up and, really not really throwing the teams for a loop, but, there definitely are teams and cars and that are stronger at other racetracks than others. And, right now it's a mix of everything. So, we got to run the race. We got to run these races at some point. So I don't really think the order matters that much. Obviously, ending at Daytona is kind of wild. You never know exactly. If you're the last one in on points, you're probably the most most nervous person in that race. Everybody else, we see it. If we haven't won, we see it as an opportunity to take a spot. And like I said, if you're locked in on points and into that last position, you're nervous until that checkered flag comes out. So, I think for everybody but that person, Daytona is wild, and I still think we should do Daytona July 4th, but that's just my opinion.
That is a quite popular date that people like to talk about with the Daytona race. So, and I'm right there with you. It feels. I remember watching the NASCAR show on Netflix, and I think it was following Bubba going into that Daytona race. He was the last one in on points, and he was just like, "I'm more nervous." And the documentary did a good job where it's just like, no clue what's happening. Like, we're just going to cross our fingers and race a race, and hopefully it goes well.
That's all you can do, right? Especially if you're in that position. I mean, you go and try and get as many points as you can, unless, if you're in and you got plenty of points from the guy behind you, then you're kind of riding around so that you're there at the end of the race to try and go win the race, right? So, with this format, there's so many different ways, to lock yourselves in, but once you kind of see where all the points are, there's so many different ways to race. There's times where, we look at getting stage points, versus setting ourselves up for the end of the race. We would, like Sonoma, we finished 4th and 5th in the first 2 stages. And it's like, all right, if we finish 15th, it's like we've won the race points wise. Mm-hmm. So, we set ourselves up for that. We knew that we probably weren't going to beat SVG at Sonoma. So we were like, let's get as many points as we can. And, taking those stage points and then trying to get back inside the top 15 was what we had planned. And we did that. But, it's wild how many different strategies there are, with the stages, the way the wind puts you straight in the playoffs. And, then you got Daytona and its own animal as the last race.
Ricky Stenhouse Jr. joining us, driver of the number 47 Chevrolet. You mentioned SVG. He's had a pretty good run, I would say, on these street and road courses. I know he's a competitor of yours on Sundays, but do you ever pick his brain? Does he ever share his knowledge of how he has the success that he's had? I know it's the rally car past experience, but
those V8 supercars and stuff that he's done, I think it just comes natural to him. I feel like sometimes you can see what he does, as far as with the brakes and the steerings and, the way he races a road course, he's fast and he doesn't wear out his tires. And so he's just super, super smooth. I got to, joke around with him at Indy, and after practice we were walking down, getting ready to qualify. He's like, holy cow, this place is fast. Because you're going down the front straightaway and it just gets so narrow. And then he, ripped off a lap there in qualifying. So he's a quick learner, and he lives around the corner from me I'm trying to help him get donkeys actually right now as we speak. He's got a nice little piece of property out by us, and so it's cool to have him as somewhat of a neighbor. But definitely a competitor.
Donkeys.
He wanted donkeys. I think he's got goats already, and my wife has accumulated 5 donkeys that we have, and so we're helping him get a couple. I'm not sure his girlfriend is super thrilled or fiance is super thrilled about that, but it's just part of helping your neighbor out.
You have 5 donkeys yourself?
We got 5, and then we got 13 Longhorns and a Highland cow and 2 dogs.
That is, you get a couple cats in there. I think you could open up a farm.
Yeah,
or open up a petting zoo.
Yeah, we definitely don't need any cats.
Ricky Stenhouse Jr., driver of the number 47 Chevrolet, joining us. I did want to kind of touch on Daytona real quick because you won the 2023 Daytona 500. And with that, just kind of walk us through the emotions, because that's the pinnacle of the sport. Some say compare it to the Super Bowl, that type of thing, but it just so happens that it's week 1 of the season. Winning that in week 1 of the season, what's the feelings like as you then go through the rest of the season with a playoff spot locked up and you have the Daytona 500 trophy sitting in your trophy case?
Yeah, for us, it really, just kicked us off on the right foot. Like you said, start of the season, biggest race of the year. Man, I woke up that morning and just felt like we were going to win. I wouldn't say I've ever had that feeling before, but I don't know. I just, that was the feeling I had. So it was cool to get it done, be able to share that with my wife and my family and all our friends that were there, and great win for our team, single car team. It was just huge, and I felt like we carried that momentum straight into the regular season. I mean, we averaged a 14th place finish, I think, throughout the regular season that year, and would have made it on points if we needed to, which was cool. And that was something that I was almost, us as a team was almost more proud of that, being able to have those solid finishes, be where we were in points when the regular season ended. So we were really thrilled about that. And nothing better than to kick off your season with a win at the Daytona 500.
And as we look ahead, August 16th, Richmond, that race near the end of the regular season, just want to know kind of your favorite part of a Richmond race weekend.
Richmond race weekend, being a Saturday night race, I'm thrilled about. Selfishly, I get to be home on Sunday, go to church, hang out with the family. But I would say, also being a Saturday night race, get to go golf Saturday morning, another positive. Being in August, it can be hot out, so the fans, obviously get, a nighttime race. And I think about, some of those races back in the day, like when Kyle Busch and Junior got into it, night race. I feel like the lights bring out, that short track Saturday night feel, which is huge around the Virginia area, especially the Richmond area, and places that like Denny grew up racing and all around this area, a lot of short track racing. So it's cool to get back to the short track roots of Saturday night short track racing. And you got the trucks on Friday night at 7:30. You got the modifieds on Thursday. So it's just a great race weekend to be a part of. And like I said, there's also some selfish reasons that I like Saturday night races.
As a fan, I love Saturday night races. Gives me a ton of time to tailgate and enjoy burgers, brews, everything like that. Ricky, last question here before we let you go. I do want to know your favorite NASCAR movie. Like
Days of Thunder.
Thank you. All right. That's
Six Pack is really high up
okay.
there.
Why do we not have more NASCAR movies? Like NFL, football gets it. Baseball has 5,000 movies.
They do. Baseball movies are good.
Yeah, they're really Bull Durham,
Baseball
Field of
movies
Dreams
are really good. I don't know. Obviously Days of Thunder. Just speaking to that one, man, that took a lot of effort for them to do. I mean, similar to what they just did with the F1 movie. A lot of effort goes into that. I mean, back in the day, those cars had to qualify for the races, and run with massive cameras on them. Now that stuff would be a little bit more streamlined, but it would be cool to do one, as long as you're not trying to remake a Days of Thunder. Because it's hard to remake a movie
That's so great.
That's so great, and make it just as good. So you got to come up with something new.
Exactly. Ricky, thank you so much for taking some time out of your Tuesday morning. Good luck this weekend at Iowa. Good luck in the next couple of weeks at Richmond. Excited to see what you guys do down there.
Yeah, thank you.
Of course, there goes Ricky Stenhouse Jr. We'll be right back with more Fitz the Bill on this Tuesday morning.